Slightly Unblended, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today is 2 looks with Terra Cosmetics shimmers. I will be using Opachus, Critical Mass, and Celestial Cloudscape. So if you'd like to see how I got this look and another one, then just keep on watching. I had to do this look in a rush because I was going to get my brows done, but I felt like it was a fun look. It was pretty simple, pretty quick. So I'm using the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas in Fair to kind of make the shape of a wing, just really where I want to focus the shimmers. So I'm using it on this Nameless Morphe brush. I'm taking it from the lower bit of my lid, taking it kind of up higher towards the center, dipping it down a little lower, and winging it outwards. It doesn't have to be the cleanest towards the outer corner of your eye because I'm just going to go in here in a little bit with some micellar water on a Q-tip to sharpen it up. I just really wanted to focus on getting the shape of the wing. So now I'm just making sure that I have it extended out as far as I want to, making sure that I have the base nice and even, and making sure that I have both eyes even, because sometimes one goes up and one goes downward, so I really try to focus on making sure that I have them even. Now I'm going to take some of the J-Cat Beauty All About That Base Glitter Primer and apply it all over the clean canvas. That way the shimmers will stay put all day. I did end up wearing this look for a long time, and I found that adding this All About That Base Glitter Primer was really good. It lasted well. Terra Cosmetics eyeshadows, their shimmers always last well, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have much fallout because I wasn't going to be able to finish this video or get my pictures until after I got my brows done. So now I'm going to take Celestial Cloudscape, and I'm going to start from the outer corner of my eye. I'm taking the Doe Color number 14 brush. I'm starting from the outer V, and I'm going to apply it outwards onto the winged out bit, and just make sure that I take it almost halfway because I will be adding Opachus to blend with it. So I'm just gonna pack it down, and you can already see the reflex in the shade. It's so gorgeous. One of my favorite things about this shade is how it's an intense, beautiful, like bluish purple kind of indigo, but it has the reddish pink sparkly reflex in it. I feel like that just packs a gorgeous sparkly punch. So with the same brush, I'm adding Opachus and I'm blending it with Celestial Cloudscape, but I'm starting by applying it more towards the inner corner of my eye onto the lid, and then taking it over to get it blended with Celestial Cloudscape. Opachus is like one of the most intense kind of green sparkles ever. It's so pretty, and it gives that wet look, and it's so shifty. I'm obsessed. So here I'm focusing on blending the two together. I went back into Celestial Cloudscape and I'm just kind of moving it back and forth to blend them together, and I'll go back into Ophiuchus and just pat it along the edges of Celestial Cloudscape. That way it's a more even blend. And now I'm going to take some micellar water on a Q-tip and just sharpen that wing up a little bit, make sure that they're even, and get it nice and defined. With the Devault Beauty Lounge Mantra Liner, I'm adding a few little dots to make a little Saturn planet, just a few different little baby planets before I add the rings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dot these on, get them as big as I want, or you could use the other end. I'm just using like a nail detail tool and putting it into the liner and then just doing the little dots. Then I'll let them dry before I add the rings. I forgot to show how I did the rings, but in the Blend Bunny Cosmetics 3 Looks 1 palette with the Lure palette, I show how I did that over hearts to make little heart planets. So I'm just dotting that on, and then I'm going to let it fully dry before I add any other liner to do the rings. That way it doesn't make a mess. So I'm just adding about 3 of these, one on the outer top bit of the wing, one towards the bridge of my nose, and then one closer to the outer corner of my eye, towards where I would apply my highlighter. So just dotting those on, and you can do as many as you want. You don't have to add them if you don't want to. You don't have to add the gleams either. Just do whatever you're most comfortable with or what you think is the cutest. I just wanted to do a cute little spacey look. Taking some of the Lashing Out Glam Dimensions graffiti liner to add some gleams. So I'm doing kind of like little half circles to make the feet and extending the points. And with this, I like to go into layers because it's more of a duochrome water activated liner. So I go in sections, and that way it can be more colorful. And then, as you can see, I've let it kind of dry and added a little more, and you can see it a little bit better. So I'm like drawing the feet with little circles, half circles, and then extending the point, and then taking it, doing little circles, and extending the point yet again. I'm just adding them kind of sporadically throughout the look. I felt like it was cute like that. So I did it kind of between the planets, on the outer bit of the winged out bit, and then more towards the inner corner of my eye. I felt like it was really fun to do it that way. And since I haven't done my base yet, I tried to not take it down too low so that I didn't have to go in and touch it up, or I didn't mess it up when I was applying my foundation and concealer and all that. So I just start doing the little circles. Well, I say circles, but like little half circles. That way I have the feet, and then I start to connect it and make the points more defined and sharp. I will say that sometimes doing them towards the bridge of my nose, towards the inner corner of my eye, can be a little difficult, especially because I'm like looking into the mirror and trying to concentrate, and then I can feel my eyes like focusing, and then I feel like I looked too long, so I do have to take breaks in between. But I did fill this one in and did a couple of them towards that inner corner, but I made sure that I left more towards the inner corner where I would add my highlighter was like empty, so that I can add some more sparkles there. I'm gonna go do the rest of my face, and I'll be right back. So this is the finished look. Sorry that this one was kind of all over the place. I had an appointment to go get my brows waxed, and so I usually have brows on. So when I got that taken care of, and I added a couple gleams underneath, I just felt like I kind of tied it together. But I am going to try in just a second to get the lights low and then use the flash on the back of my phone camera and include that to see if I can like show how shifty it is because it's dark out right now, so I can't really go outside and do it. So I was like, okay, just low light it. So I'll include that right here, and then I'll see you in the next one. So I'm starting out with the shade Tentacles from the Lure palette, and I'm using the Blend Bunny Cosmetics B2 brush and adding it to the outer V of my eye and taking it halfway into the crease. I'm going for a more rounded shape, so I'm just kind of putting it on that outer V and then taking it inwards and not really blowing it out very much. Just trying to get that shape nice and built up and get that color nice and ready for the next shade. Look at how beautiful Tentacles is. I just cannot. The Lure palette is so dreamy. With the same brush, I'm using the shade 332 meters and taking it into the crease towards the bridge of my nose, and I'm blending Tentacles out with it. I'm just kind of patting it down and doing back and forth windshield wipe motions, more so focusing on patting it down and getting the shape. But when I was working with the inner corner of my lid area in the crease, I was kind of doing more back and forth windshield wipe motions. Then I go in and just kind of pat it and get everything nice and touched up. I will say, blending out any of the purples with the more teal shades in this palette, oh my gosh, like that's one of my favorite things to do with the blends palette. So I was super excited to do it with this look because just the way these teals blend the purples or blend with the purples is just so pretty in my opinion. I love those shades together. So now with the Blend Bunny Cosmetics B1 brush, I'm going to diffuse 332 meters with it by doing back and forth windshield wipe motions with the lightest amount of pressure. You don't want to use much pressure at all, you just want it to feel like a little bit of a tickle. That way it'll get it nice and diffused, and you can see where it's a little bit darker and it gets a little lighter, and that's where you want to apply your next shade. So I'm going to use the Doe Color number 9 brush, and I'm going into Seafoam, which is one of my absolute favorite shades from this palette. I'm going to take that to blend out 332 meters and have a nice and more gradient blend. So here I'm still doing more of like the back and forth windshield wipe motions, just making sure everything is nice and diffused and just as seamless as possible. And look at how pretty Seafoam is. It's like, I cannot get over how gorgeous it is. So I do kind of do pattern motions and then do the back and forth windshield wipe motions as well. But look at how it just kind of makes Tentacles have its own moment with both of these beautiful shades. I'm taking the Blend Bunny Cosmetics B2 brush again and going back into 332 meters just to make sure that I have it brought back because I did lose a little bit of it. So I'm going in and touching it up and making sure it's nice and evenly blended. And just look, it's so pretty. I love it so much. So back and forth windshield wipe motions, very light pressure, can do little pats too. I found with the Lure palette that it blends like no other. So when you're doing pats or the back and forth windshield wipe motions, it just like the shades melt together. So to soften that blend, I'm going back in with the Doe Color number 9 brush. It's a fluffier brush, and I'm going to go ahead and add some more Seafoam to make sure everything is nice and blended. I wanted to go back in with this shade to make sure that the blend wasn't harsh. I went in and touched up 332 meters, and that's what I'm doing with the Sigma E25 brush right here. It's a smaller brush for more details, so I just wanted to go in and touch it up a little bit more towards the inner corner of my eye. Now I'm going to clean my crease with some micellar water on a Q-tip to get it nice and ready to carve it out with the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas in Fair. Here I'm taking my nameless Morphe brush and the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas in Fair, and I'm going to go ahead and carve out my crease. I like to start from the inner corner of my eye and get it hugged up to the crease as best as possible. Make sure that wherever any of the skin of my lids is showing, I want to cover that with the clean canvas, and I take it over and just anywhere that there is no eyeshadow, that's where I want it. Sometimes I will take it up a little bit towards the eyeshadow to like kind of touch it up to it to make sure it's a nice and crisp cut. With the dough color number 14 brush, I'm adding the shade Celestial Cloudscape to the outer bit of my lid where I carved out my crease. So closest to tentacles, I'm going to take it about halfway over and get it nice and built up. Look at how pretty the shade is. It's been so much fun to see how Celestial Cloudscape pairs with Ophiuchus and Critical Mass. It was really, really cool to see the difference in the two shades. I kind of could tell like a really interesting difference in how they are, but having them compared in looks in one video was really cool. Speaking of critical mass, that's the shade I'm going to take right now with the same brush, the dough color number 14 brush, and I'm going to add it onto my lid towards the inner corner of my eye area. I'm going to take it over and blend it with Celestial Cloudscape, and it's such a dreamy shade. It's such a really nice light sparkly green, and the sparkles are just so pretty. So I'm taking it and I'm kind of dragging it over towards Celestial Cloudscape, and I'm going to pat it along the edges of that, and I will go back into Celestial Cloudscape to kind of blend the two together. Just kind of go back into both shades and pat them to make sure they're nice and evenly blended, going back and forth, patting, going side to side, and just look at how pretty they blend together. Here I went back in with the Blend Bunny Cosmetics B2 brush and started to pat a little bit of tentacles over Celestial Cloudscape. That way they blend, but also I take a little bit more of Celestial Cloudscape to pat over tentacles. Just wanted to make sure that they were nice and blended beautifully, nice and seamless. And that's just a thing I like to do when I'm doing like a half cut crease and I really want to get the sparkles blended, but it look more seamless and less harsh. I'll go into the matte shade and pat it over and go back into the sparkly shade and then pat a little bit more of the matte over. Just do it until you're content with how it looks. I just kind of go back and forth and play around with it. Alright, so this is the finished look. I'm sorry for the voiceover. I have been working on my 3 Looks 1 palette with the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Allure palette video. I've been filming for the past 3 days. There was a day that I needed a break, just like a day off from filming and kind of have some me makeup time. I like to do that sometimes because makeup is like my self-expression, and sometimes when I'm having a rough day I like to just do it to like put my mood on my face, if you will. So I have been working on those, and then I could not get to sleep last night, and I didn't get a lot of sleep at all, so I was really tired and I have a lot of stuff that I had to do, so I was like, voiceover would be a lot faster. So this whole video is pretty much, for the most part, a voiceover. I don't know, like, do we like the voiceover? Should I do more of those, or do you like when I sit and talk? I feel like I ramble a little bit less in the voiceovers. I only have so much time to talk before I like skip a step, so I kind of keep myself like in order on that. But yeah, so I did use the Allure palette for this, and my lips are very dry, so I used the new ColourPop Glowing Lip in the shade Candy Kisses because it's really moisturizing. It feels really nice on my lips, and I was like, that works, we'll do that. And yeah, so I did spot a difference with the 2 shades of the greens, Critical Mass and Ophiuchus. This one seems to be a little more of a limeish green with a hint of like gold in it compared to Ophiuchus. That one to me is like super high shine lime with what's the color I'm looking for? Teal. So I really want to play with that with the Allure palette with the teals in there. I think that'd be really pretty. Would that be something you're interested in? I'm going to include swatches side by side of Ophiuchus and Critical Mass right here. Sorry, my mind blanked. I was like, and I just used it. Then I include the swatches of those 2 and Celestial Cloudscape right here. Gorgeous. I am planning on doing an entire video of just swatches of all the shades of Terra Cosmetics that I own, and they are going to be having a sale. I don't know if it'll still be going on when this video goes up, but this Saturday, January the 28th, I do believe they're having a sale, and I do believe they're launching their palettes. They have a new big palette. It's so gorgeous, and I
have one palette from them, and then I have the new one. I love it so much. They're so pretty. So I'm gonna kind of go through and sort them by shades, like by the colors, and then do them like that. That way there's a nice look at all of them kind of in a color story. And then out of those swatches, if there's any looks that you would like to see with them, then let me know. I'll go more into detail as I do the video. I'm really excited about that though, because I love to play in some sparkles. Speaking of sparkles, for my brow bone highlight, I took Space Baby and Shattered Stars. I just got that one and I've been eyeing it. I swatched it the other day and I was like, I need to wear that. So I was like, well, inner corner highlight today. And I really like it. I love the sparkles. Celestial Cloudscape is just so gorgeous. The reflex in it, the sparkles. I'm just like looking at it because the light's reflecting. It's just, it's so pretty. Okay, I'm rambling entirely too much. Let me know what you'd like to see next down below. If you'd like to keep up with my awkward face and shenanigans while I'm not here on YouTube, I have all my social medias linked in the description box down below. If you'd like to keep up with me while I am here on YouTube, then please hit the subscribe button. It means so much to me and I can't thank you enough. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I'll see you in the next one. Bye!